What's up guys, Jesse here. So the normal ultrawide is usually about 34 inches with an aspect ratio of 21:9, making it perfect for watching movies, extra immersion in games, and extra multitasking functionality. So I guess that begs the question then, is more wide more better? So I've been rocking this 49-inch ultrawide from LG for the past couple of weeks now, and today's video is going to be more about 49-inch ultrawides in general rather than this LG model specifically. It's been out for a couple of years at this point and there are plenty of good reviews on it, so I'm not going to make another one here. Unless you guys really want me to, then I might. So if that's something you guys really want to see, let me know down in the comment section down below. So it seems like as time has gone on, screens have just been getting wider and wider. We started off with the standard 4:3 and then went on to standard wide, which is 16:9, and then to ultra wide 21:9, and now super ultra wide, which is 32:9. And you know, dumb names aside, there are some distinct advantages to having a wider form factor. Like those things that I mentioned earlier about the extra immersion in games and multitasking productivity are amplified once you go even wider than the standard ultrawide. And with a resolution of 5120 by 1440, it is the equivalent of having two 27-inch 1440p monitors side by side, but with no bezel in between. And anybody who knows me knows that I hate bezels, so that was a huge selling point for me. However, it is worth noting though that you can easily find two 27-inch 1440p monitors for well under the price that you could get one of these. But that isn't to say you don't get anything for the extra price. The lack of the bezel in between really adds to the immersion if you use this for gaming, and it also allows you to have a window open in the center rather than off to either side, which means you don't have to turn your head, which I would think is better for you ergonomically. And just the versatility that you get from being able to have all of the benefits of having two screens side by side while also having the option to use it as one super ultra wide seamless experience is incredible. Also, since it is just one monitor, that means only one power cable and stand to deal with, and when you have as many cables as I do, any savings on that front is welcome. Now I will say that before getting this in hand, I was kind of concerned that the height of the display would seem a little bit too narrow, but honestly after getting to see it in person, I don't feel that way at all. I feel like it's just because it's so ridiculously wide that it appears kind of short in video, but once you're sitting in front of it, you're kind of just slapped in the face with just how massive this thing is in all dimensions. And I feel like the best way to take advantage of all of that extra screen real estate is multitasking, video editing if you're into that. Just being able to see the whole timeline at one time is just a really crazy experience, and casual gaming. LG doesn't really advertise this as a gaming monitor, and I get it because it's only 60 Hz, but it just comes back to how big this thing is and the size making casual gaming like playing RPGs and that sort of thing extremely immersive. But obviously it's probably not the best for competitive gaming just because you're gonna have to turn your head side to side quite a lot to see everything, which is definitely not what you want. Now what I use this display more for though is basically just as two displays side by side with no bezel. And it works flawlessly for that. Basically you can literally treat this as two separate displays with separate inputs for each side. And that's basically what I've got going on over here. I've got a Mac on one side and a PC on the other, and I'll be talking more about that in a future video, so definitely make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss that. Or because it's one display, most of these monitors have some sort of software built in or something that you can download from their website that basically lets you partition the screen any way you want it. So you know, if you've ever wanted to have 8 different sections in one screen, this has got you covered. And plus, just like subjectively, I feel like this just looks way cooler than two monitors side by side. But it's not perfect, and there are some things to get used to with this new form factor. First is that since it is in fact only one monitor and not two, you can't change the angle between the two sides. And if you plan on using this as two monitors, or even if you aren't, you're gonna have to do a lot of head turning and body leaning to see anything that's on either side. It's really not too bad, but I do wish that the curve was just a little bit more intense. screens. This model in particular has a 3800R curve, which at the moment of filming, I think only the Samsung Odyssey G9 has anything different from that, and basically it just means that the curve of the screen follows the curve of a circle that has a radius of 3,800 centimeters, which in real life just basically means that there is a very slight curve. Second is just that this thing is freaking huge and heavy. It takes up almost the entire width of my desk, so I had to rearrange everything to make room for this gigantic monitor, which, I mean, I was perfectly happy to do. It's just something that you need to prepare for. And also, because it's so heavy, if you want to use a third-party monitor arm or stand, you're gonna have to make sure it can support the weight of this thing. I think without the stand, it weighs about 30 pounds, and the monitor arm that I ended up going with was the Ergotron HX, which was kind of expensive, but it's super solid, and it holds up the weight with no problem. Third is just that this 32:9 aspect ratio just kind of has some quirks to it that you're gonna need to get used to. Like, no content is really made for this aspect ratio, so if you watch any kind of video like a show or a movie, you're gonna expect some big black bars on the left and right. Some games just don't even support 32:9, while others may support it but have some strange quirks about it. Like in Red Dead Redemption 2, the cutscenes are supposed to be 21:9, and instead of just filling up the maximum amount of screen real estate, it just kind of makes this tiny little rectangle in the middle. But I mean, so far after a couple of weeks of using this, those are my only complaints, and I feel like out of that list that I just mentioned, the only one that possibly might be a deal breaker for you is the strange aspect ratio. I actually got mine off of Facebook Marketplace, and the guy who sold it to me told me he was getting rid of it just because he did a lot of screen sharing at work, and the strange aspect ratio just made crazy letterboxing effects for his coworkers. So if you just really want everything to work and you just don't want to worry about it, you might be better off with a regular 21:9 ultrawide, or even a 16:9 regular widescreen. But I feel like there are always just some workarounds for that kind of stuff, like being able to switch it to a 16:9 aspect ratio when you are screen sharing. And to answer that question at the beginning of the video, is wider more better? I'm gonna go with yeah. Just the versatility of being able to switch between dual monitor mode for maximum productivity or a single super ultra wide for maximum immersion just adds so much more value to me. And after using this for a couple of weeks, I have exactly zero regrets. Anyways, that's just my take on it. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, and let me know if you guys are going to be picking one up. Remember to smash that like button, and if you enjoy content like this, think about subscribing and hitting the bell so you don't miss anything. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace!